Hi there, Virgo. Welcome to your June 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here, and this is a great month for career because as the month begins, your sun is in the 10th house in the sign of Gemini. And the 10th house is kind of like this elevated place being at the top of the chart where it's like, look at me, look at what I'm doing, world. And the world is seeing you and acknowledging you, and the sun is what I consider the aspirational self, like what you want to be when you grow up. And you could be you could be wanting to grow up when you're like 50 years old, so don't get it twisted. But in any case, this gives dignity to somebody's persona where they feel that sense of perhaps accomplishment. Remember the sun card in the tarot and all the beautiful things that it represents: prosperity, success, healing, love, all those kinds of things. Well, it's kind of like taking your bow with the sun in the 10th house and also just being career minded. And so that's happening as we begin June. And Mars is in your 11th house, which is the house of your long range goals, your hopes and wishes. And I would separate them from your career goals. So, all the other things. What would make your dream life, Virgo? What would it take for you to have that dream life? And are you going after those goals? I think that you are in June. And you may not even make that connection, but you could be. Now, Mars is the god of war. So, if we look at the fact that the 11th house can be friendships, groups. You may be having conflict with one of your friends or a group of friends. Why would this happen? Well, sometimes people, they do end up kind of like growing out of their friendships, right? Or is that how you say it? Growing out, growing away, whatever. And this is a good thing to do. If you are somebody who has a kind of a pack of friends, and I'm sure not all Virgo people are like this. I'm sure a fair number of you are kind of introverted bookworms who would rather curl up to a good book or be online and learning something new than to go out and just hang with a bunch of people. But on the off chance that you are more social, maybe you have a lot of Leo or Libra in you, um, that can indicate that you may notice uh, that you're kind of clashing with people more often, and that can be a good time to really reflect upon the nature of your relationship. Because I would say the same thing with a partner, a like a romantic partner. If all of a sudden you start having more and more clashes, disagreements, that's a good time to really question whether or not the relationship is still working out for both of you, because it could indicate that you're just growing in different directions. So it doesn't have to be something bad. Oh, this is terrible. But just to, conflict is a great teacher and a great information gatherer. So don't look at it in a bad way. And same thing with groups. If you belong to a group and you suddenly start to veer away from some of the beliefs, see how those people feel. We joke about cults. Cults are real. And I'm saying that even if something isn't literally a cult, when you get a group of people together and there's a general consensus and then somebody kind of questions that consensus, all hell can break loose because people feel safety in numbers. And so don't start to second guess yourself because you're coming under fire. You may be right on time. Those people may be the ones who are in denial, and that's on them. On the 3rd, we have a new moon at 12 Gemini in that 10th house. New opportunities, new seeds planted for future harvest, for your career goals, aspirations. So that can be very good for worldly success. On the 4th, the next day, Mercury goes into the 11th house. So I see this, 10th, 11th house stuff going on, Virgo. I do think that you're planning for the future in multiple ways and looking at how your career nourishes your dream life. Mercury in that 11th house can be getting in contact with people, maybe networking, working the phones, reaching out to people that you're trying to, get on board about something. And one thing I want to say, going back to Mars in the 11th house, it could simply mean a lot of activity that's on a social level. Maybe you're networking vigorously, and this could have to do with your job, and that might be one of the job descriptions, and you're just doing a lot right now. So it doesn't have to be conflict; it can just be extra activity in that area. On the 8th, Venus goes into Gemini, the 10th house. This is good for popularity. Venus is an attractor, so Venus can attract popularity, favorability that others have towards you in your career. People who are in a position of authority, who have the ability to kind of, I was going to say make or break you, but I mean, what I really mean is to help you to get ahead, will want to, because they'll think you're adorable. Venus can bring money, so this could be a raise or just some kind of more pleasant circumstances connected to career matters. You could meet some romantic partner connected to your career in some way, so love can come to you through career. But definitely money is connected to Venus. And then on the 17th, we have a full moon at 25 degrees of Sagittarius, 4th house of home and family. So also the house of the mother. So there could be some kind of update, or you find out something about your mother. There could be an ending for some sort of real estate situation. Maybe you have put your house on the market and it has finally sold. Or you're moving to a new apartment. You've already put in your notice or what have you, and you're going to move. The full moon in the 4th house can give Virgos an insight into their childhood, into some aspect of the past. And it's kind of funny because with some of these transits, you might be saying, well, I'm in my 60s. There's no way that there's going to be any new insights that I have towards my childhood, or it could be towards your mother. But that's not true at all. As long as we're growing, we are constantly seeing things at a deeper and deeper level. But I mean, I should have said as long as we're conscious, as long as we have awareness that we are more than just these physical beings going through this physical experience. I think that we do tend to avail ourselves of all these different layers to life. And it can't help but come up sometimes that certain things become clearer to us. I have experienced this myself, and I guarantee you that all of you will do so in one way or the other. Well, I don't like to say I guarantee it, because in somebody, you guaranteed it, you promised it. But I just think that if you are somebody who actually is a thoughtful person, if you just kind of go through the motions of life, maybe not. Maybe you're just having that tunnel vision. But this can be a time to let go of something from childhood, letting go of your story of what happened to you. And every transit, it sounds like it's okay, now it's time to let go of this. And it's just like it's so easy. No, it's always a process, obviously. It's not a quick fix, but at least it can be an awareness. I think full moons can bring an awareness, and that can be a catalyst for future growth. On the 21st, we're talking about solstice, and solstice time is one of the changes of the season. So we have the summer and winter solstice. Obviously, southern hemispheres, they are kind of flipped. So northern hemisphere, we're enjoying the summer solstice. And this is a time, it's funny, I just want to say this because I have the moon in Virgo. So I think a lot of you can probably relate to some of these concepts that a Virgo type of person would have. But it really bothers me that on the solstice, that the day after the solstice, that we start to lose light. I'm like, it's June. We're just getting started here. And now you're telling me that we're starting to go downhill or into the darkness. I mean, I'm being slightly facetious, but I mean, dang, So the thing is, this is an apex in the northern hemisphere. The height of the light, to put it that way. So this is a powerful period. But even if you're in the southern hemisphere and it's the darkest day of the year, that's very powerful too. I mean, in a way, I think that's almost cooler because you've gotten to the lowest point and now it's only up from there. So that symbolizes to me the potential for redemption, in a sense. That whatever, however low a person sinks, that they can always rise from that place. And, but in this, in the, with the summer solstice, I feel like we're kind of coming to this head, this heightened state. And, to me, it is a very powerful period for both hemispheres, and for you to kind of be conscious of this shift into Cancer, which is a cardinal sign, and which deals with action and change. Okay. And so that's the 21st. And on the same day, and that's your 11th house. So that's, really trying to go after those things that you want to make your life how you want it. Virgo, your dreams. You have your own set of dreams. And on the same day, Neptune, ironically, because Neptune is associated with dreams in part, goes retrograde, which is a time when it can be more realistic and be a reality check. And that is in your 7th house of committed partnership. So, Virgo, if some of you have had disillusionment with a marriage or the equivalent committed partnership type of deal, this can really lay things out bare. But be aware that you may have already been dealing with this for years now. Neptune went into Pisces, your opposite sign, in 2011. We're already in 2019. And so it's been there for years. And if you have married or moved in with somebody in this time frame, and of course, if your chart cooperates with this particular, house placement, that is too, because this is a general forecast after all. But this could have been something where you have discovered that your partner is not who he or she presented themselves as. And that can be a little bit difficult. And this can be one of those times where the curtain is pulled back and you see who the person really is. And it can feel very unsettling if you are attached to that particular relationship in a big way. I mean, by attached, I mean that you feel like, oh, this was the one. And you may have thought this was your soulmate, because Neptune is very idealistic and also deals with the spiritual. And also that this is just a placement of, or a transit of someone who kind of like bewitches you, so to speak, who kind of puts you under their spell. However, sometimes spells wear off, don't they? And then you're left holding the bag and saying, what did I just do? So for some people, they're going to really have to face the reality of their relationship. And that's okay if that's something that resonates with you. For others, it could be that you have fallen madly in love with somebody, and now you're dealing with the after effects, which are, pretty common with many of us. When we first meet our partner, we tend to get intoxicated with that love, at the beginning. And then it goes into kind of the normal relationship. Well, when Neptune is transiting your 7th house, there is no such thing as a normal marriage or partnership, because there's always going to be this bit of whimsy or fantasy, spiritual, maybe a lot of spiritual experiences between the two of you that cement the belief that you are destined to be together. And, what I would say to people is to forget about all of that. I would say that to anybody, whether you have this transit or not, is just to like approach somebody as, okay, in this moment, I feel like you are the one that I want to travel through life with, but keeping in mind that there could be different seasons for relationships, and what is really meant to be in one phase is not, and you don't have to make this big deal out of it and act like it's the end of the world, because it isn't. But some of you, this is simply becoming more realistic about your relationship, which is a good thing, and not kind of living in la la land. It doesn't have to be like, oh, they betrayed you or anything like that, but just being a little bit more grounded. On the 26th, Mercury goes into Leo. That's the 12th house. So you're starting this 12th house, these 12th house transits with the personal planets, and that can lead to more hibernation time for Virgo. It's funny that the opposite sign to you is Pisces. And Pisces is associated with kind of like that going into the hermitage, so to speak, because opposite signs often have those common traits. And so this is you, and you are the hermit. That's what I meant to say in the tarot. You are the hermit. So you go into your hermitage and kind of like wait to be reborn at the time of your new moon happening at the end of August. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, because we're just talking about Mercury here. The sun hasn't gone in there yet, and won't do so for another month. But Mercury is taking the lead, I guess. And Mercury in the 12th can make you, this is your ruler, Virgo. So this is an important planet to watch for when it's transiting. In the 12th house, it's going to be more suited or suitable for mystical and artistic pursuits than thinking straight. 12th house is not known for thinking straight, but it can be, and it can be an unusual experience, but it can be a very interesting experience. I know when I've had Mercury in my 12th house, how weird and wonderful it can be, because even memory can be triggered, deeply buried memories. And you can have deja vu experiences. It's just, I can't really, put it into words, but watch out for any kind of anxious thoughts that don't seem to have an origin, because that could be 12th house, because it's very spiritually receptive, and you have to take care. Meditation is always a plan and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is very good. This is a very good month for career expansion, and also for dream expansion. I mean, your dreams of this world, the things that you want, your dream life. Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed this, Virgo. And if you would like a private reading, please click on the link below. Take care. Bye.